It's the 17th of July, Tuesday, 2007. Just spoke to my wife, who's still in East Grinstead. It was her appointment. Obviously, if you remember, a few days ago she went in for to have her stitches placed in, and they noticed her pressure was high, which obviously worried. But they said, don't worry, it's part of the swelling. And again, I questioned the dexamethasone, and they said, no, it's okay, we have to give you this. And now she tells me, which made me really angry. I don't know who I'm angry at, but I'm really angry about this, that now they're saying that they did her pressure today and it was 28, which is higher than it was a few days ago. Remember, she has been on dexamethasone continuous, even though the pressure's been going up, and they must know. I've been saying from the very beginning that she has a steroid intolerance to it. Even the first time when they put it back on it, which possibly was the cause of her getting this secondary glaucoma in the first place, pressure. So now they've taken her off that, and they put her on Vexil, which is the lower one, which she didn't seem to have so much problem with. I don't know if they could have given her that in the first place. Because my wife asked them what it was necessary, and they said they had to give it to her to fight the battle. So maybe it's not their fault. Maybe they have to do this. But then when they gave her the surgery, they knew she had an intolerance to this dexamethasone. They can't give her Dimox, which is an anti-pressure tablet, because they don't want the flap to close up, the new place. So I don't know why the pressure's not coming out, because they said if the pressure did build up, it would come out. So why has it not come out? Is it already blocked? So she's back on Vexil. She can't take any pressure tablets, 28, and they told her, you'll know if the pressure gets worse because it'll get more misty. They said just hang in there. Maybe, because it's got this flap, assume that it's not blocked. And the whole point of it is that the pressure doesn't build up and it comes out, that maybe, after some time it will come out, and then it will go back to its, 10, 11, 12. If not, then we're back, like I worried at the very beginning of this blog, about us going in this round circle. Like I said to her, then what was the point of doing this then, if they had to give her dexamethasone after doing this operation, then they knew she had intolerance to it, so, what did they do it for? But then, like she said, it was to protect the optic nerve. Although I don't know whether it really is, because we're coming back round to this pressure thing again. Well, it stopped it for a little while because it was very bad. Maybe it just stayed mild now, I don't know whether this number will be acceptable. I think 20 is probably the number she started with, before the rejection. But it's really annoying that, I don't know, that they tried to get rid of her pressure there by doing something, but that didn't work, just made her eye hurt. So now her eye's hurting. She's got 28 pressure. She's gone through 2 operations for this, and we seem to be back at the first place, but with pain and with having to go through all this, and her eye being sensitive, and all these different drops she has to take, and tablets. And then she said that when she asked about the leaking, because it's leaking, that's why she's giving antibiotic tablets, they said no, it's okay. Then she overheard him tell the other doctor when he came to consult that it's moderate. I mean, obviously maybe okay and moderate are the same to them. So I don't know if there's something more to worry about. We know they're the best in the country, and unfortunately her having this intolerance is probably complicating matters. All we can hope is that they can do whatever they have to do with taking the lower steroid, the Vexil, and that her eye just adjusts and the pressure comes out itself, and we don't have to go through another operation. Because then we're thinking, well, what's the point of doing that? Well, maybe they'll do an Amid valve then, and that will regulate it definitely. Maybe they should have done that in the first place if they knew that, like I did, like I've been saying, that she has an intolerance, because at the beginning she had 6 weeks worth of this dexamethasone, and that's when her pressure shot to 60, and that was the sign that she had an intolerance to it, and they took her off it, and then it went, and it was perfectly fine. And if only it stayed like that, why they gave her dexamethasone again And now to do it a third time just seems, but then the problem is with medicine, it's easy to blame them, but it's probably not their fault. The problem is with medicine is it's hit and miss with each individual person and each individual situation. So I know it's not their fault because they're not doing it intentionally, they're trying their best, because you can see the way they do it and how kind they are, and how they apologise for everything. That this is just unfortunate because it's part of the medicine, or it's part of them not being able to get the medicine exactly 100%, and also because of how her body reacts to it. So all they can do is try their best based on those variables. I just really hope that the pressure comes down on its own, and what does worry you is that we kept asking them, and they kept saying, no, it's not a problem, the slit's there, it's going to come out on its own. And so now it makes you wonder about all the other things they said. Like we said, could the stitch come out in the first place because of the pressure? And, I don't know, because they said something else, and now they're saying something else. It makes you wonder about all their diagnosis. So I don't know. And if it is the reason why a stitch came out, does that mean it might come out again now? It's getting higher and higher. Very worrying for her. She's going through this, very brave and very strong. It's her 10th operation or whatever since she was born 34 years ago, and that's a lot of operations to have to go through. And the prospect of more is just, especially after having so many in such a short amount of time. It takes a lot of bravery and strength to accept things like that and go through them. I know, obviously people are going through operations all the time, and it is something you have to be very brave to do, because it's very worrying and a lot of fear to it, and you put in your hands in someone else and you don't know what complication is going to come, because it's easy to just sort of say, oh no, I'm not going to do anything, because then at that present time nothing's wrong. And you think by going through this then all these other things happen, but what you don't realise is if you hadn't done it, then what would have happened? Anyway, so that's the situation at the moment. Her pressure's 28. They've reduced her pressure drop to a lesser steroid that she took before. We seem to be back on the same road as we were before the 2 operations, but obviously rejection's okay. Plus we don't know, because she's been taking antibiotics, how that leak has affected her eye. Whether this pressure is something else to do with that, maybe the leak going back inside her eye, or some kind of swelling or something, I don't know. But it's a worrying, unsettling time, not really knowing which side of the road we're on, whether we're on success or whether we're on failure. So it's all in God's hands, and we have to just accept whatever is our fate and pray towards that. It was very worrying. I was hoping for good news today. I was hoping the pressure was back, and we were actually back on track. And obviously I keep thinking about the last blog I did where you're thinking that, is it because of that stitch coming out? Everything seemed okay then. We didn't have a pressure check a week up to that stitch coming out, so we don't know the pressure was going up. The pressure might have been going up, and so this isn't anything to do with that, but it makes you think, if that stitch had stayed in, was it all to do with this extra fiddling about with the eye that's caused this to happen? One of the things you never really know. Anyway, I'll keep you updated. My next appointment is in a week's time, and we'll see what happens then.